I'd like to get back, though, to the wood, and I think it really is important. In Arkansas, 0% of the certified forests are eligible for LEED certification. 75% of the certified forests in North America are not eligible for LEED's wood certification credit. Can you tell me why, Mr. Gatlin?
I believe, as Mr. Hubble mentioned, the owners of those firms are not participating in the FSC certification process. I don't believe it's necessarily that they're eligible or ineligible, but that they opt not to participate. They may not like that system.
Well, they're ineligible, though, for your certification.
Well,
based on your criteria.
Yes, sir. Our criteria for that is that wood products, in order to earn that point, and it's a voluntary point out of 100 points, that they would be participating in the FSC certification, and that's simply because we try to refer to other third-party environmental standards wherever we possibly can, and not come up with our own.
Do you have any relationship with the FSC folks?
Not other than just communication. There's a dialogue like there is with most other industry associations, but no formal relationship.
Why choose that as opposed to the certified forest designation?
Right.
Which 75%, are not able to qualify. Most of our, producers in our states, which are Americans, pay taxes and stuff, they don't qualify.
Well, again, as I mentioned in response to Senator Boxer's question, our organization, we're a membership organization, almost 17,000 member companies. We spent several years working on an alternative. It did not pass our membership, so those things happen sometimes. The alternative was sort of our last fallback, because we don't like to create our own benchmarks where there's existing ones in the market. We tried to look at a number of factors, management practices, clear-cutting practices, so forth. There's a number of factors, and I'm not actually an expert on the forest industry, but we tried to look at a number of factors in creating that benchmark standard.
I guess my problem
it didn't pass because a lot of the wood industry itself has not reached a consensus on those practices.
I guess my problem is that then GSA is having, as a government, are having to rely. I guess what you're saying is on your membership as to how they vote on these things, which to me is kind of crazy.
I think, unfortunately, we're sort of looking to the forest and paper products industry to come to a better consensus than they currently have on sustainable certification.
Yeah. Can you comment, Mr. Hubble?
Yes, sir. One of the reasons that we founded the Green Building Initiative 6 years ago is because we thought we could do a better job of involving all the relevant stakeholders in the maintenance and development of a green building standard. So we licensed the consensus standard down into the U.S., and then we immediately took it through a very rigorous process as dictated by the American National Standards Institute, and essentially separated the organization from the content of the standard. We don't control the content of the standard. So the committee that looked at this consisted of people from the wood industry and from the concrete industry and a lot of places like that, but it also included representatives from the American Institute of Architects and the US EPA and a lot of folks. So it was a very balanced, transparent process that resulted in the inclusion of 4 major forest certification systems, FSC being one, and the other 3, SFI and a couple of others. That was the collective wisdom of that committee over which we had no control. And so that's how it has come to be the way it is with our system.
So you agree that the 75% should or shouldn't be included?
I agree with the technical committee that recommended that 4 major North American forest certification systems should be recognized in our rating system.
Yes, sir, I agree.
Yes.
Very good. I'm glad you clarified that. I guess what is the rationale that is not the approach that you all take, Mr. Gatlin? I mean, that to me is common sense. You said that they hadn't come to a consensus, but again, I don't understand. Why?
Well, in short, the way our process works is we have technical committees similar, I think, to what was described. And for energy, water, materials being one, and our materials technical committee years ago identified the FSC standard as the most objective, ideal standard for wood certification. As I mentioned, in trying to be more open, or at least perceived to be more open, we tried to create our own sort of benchmark criteria, which, as I mentioned, did not pass. But I think one of the points that's probably the most important, again, is 90% of our projects actually pursue materials credits that are focused on buying locally. That could include wood products, and it could include many other types of products. So, you know, we see that as a real win, and we're going to continue to work on the wood issue to the best that we can, given there's disagreement in the forest industry right now.
Well, okay, thank you. And again, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess the only thing I would say that you can't buy locally in Arkansas because 0% qualifies. And that is true in again, much of the states, much of our constituency. So we have a situation where the federal government is discriminating based on your membership, and I think that's a real problem. Thank you.